All right, guys. We are here today. Let me make sure we got this ready. Can y'all hear this? Can y'all hear the music? Let me know. Hold on. I don't know what the default settings like. Weird. Oh, I see why. Let me know if you can hear the music. You should be good. Yeah, I feel a little bit better. I'm definitely not 100%, but I'm getting there. Whatever this was just kind of lingered. You know. But I definitely feel a little bit better. I just gotta drink some coffee, wake up a little bit. Yeah, so we got some big stories today. Today is the start of the FOMC week. We got the FOMC meeting this Wednesday, April 7th. We got a lot of news happening. We got Palantir earnings at the closing bell today. We have big news from Warren Buffett retiring. So Warren Buffett is actually retiring at the end of this year. And I think it's probably time for that. NASDAQ's still up, though. It's over 20,000. It's looking pretty good. Yeah. But let's talk about it. So, yeah, on the news this week, we got Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway retirement, the Fed decision, earnings, and more. So this Saturday, longtime Berkshire Hathaway CEO Warren Buffett said he plans to anoint another person, Greg Abel, to take over at the end of this year in 2025 for Berkshire Hathaway leader. Abel was named his successor back in 2021. It came at the end of another annual meeting that saw Buffett warn people on tariff plans, talk down this year's market volatility. Buffett said he has no plans to sell Berkshire stock as a result of the change and won't be far away if needed. He said, quote, "I will still hang around and could conceivably be useful in a few cases, but the final word would be what Greg said in operations and capital deployment, whatever it might be." Buffett, end quote. Warren Buffett. Berkshire stock is down a little bit when we take a look at Berk. Here's Berkshire. Let me see how they do this on TOS. I think it's slash. Here's Class A shares for Berk. They're already down to 79s from 81s. They're really not down that much, to be honest, a couple percent. But they are down a little bit on this news, a tad bit. Do y'all think this is bad for Berkshire? Honestly, Warren Buffett's old, man. It's time. How old is Warren Buffett? He's got to be in his freaking 80s now, huh? 94. So he's older than that, bro. Okay, listen. My grandmother, rest in peace, passed away at 97 this year. You know, something like that. It was like 96, 97. She passed away this past year. Rest in peace to my Nino. But she didn't have that much of an idea of what was going on, right? Like, she was somewhat cognizant, but it wasn't, you know. And so my point is, it's probably time for Buffett to stand down and to step away from business. I think that's probably pretty standard, pretty normal. Let me know if you guys think it's a good idea. Taking a look at bond yields. Bond yields are spiking this morning, dude. So bond yields up to 4.3%, which is a big movement higher. So bond yields been heading up over the weekend. Again, we're currently at 4.3% today, 4.3%. So bond yields higher this morning, a little bit higher. NASDAQ still testing 20K, and honestly, it's sitting right at 20K. I kind of want to buy this here. Palantir, big stock, big earnings. Palantir is expecting for earnings. And we don't really have any big ones today, but we got enough. We got Berk earnings this morning. I guess we had Berkshire earnings this morning. Yeah, Burke ended up posting 447 profit per share versus 480 expected, so a little bit less than expected EPS for Burke. Pershing Square is going to invest $900 million to acquire 9 million newly issued shares of Howard Hughes Holding, HHH, a transformed company, into a diversified holding company. U.S. Rep. Bill Foster says he plans to introduce a bill in coming weeks to track AI chips after sale. According to Reuters, Foster's bill would address smuggling of NVIDIA and other AI chips overseas. Financial Times reported that bankers urge U.S. companies to use reprieve and market swings to sell debt. And like I said, Berkshire Hathaway shareholders voted unanimously to name Greg Abel president and CEO effective January 1st, 2026. So first of next year. BioNTech had some earnings. We had some other ones, but it's been pretty... The big one's Palantir today. Palantir, huge company. Let's take a look. Palantir, all the way up to 120s right now, man. This is one of the biggest earnings. Like, Palantir is slowly becoming one of the largest chip earnings of the quarter. So, Palantir earnings today. They drop at 405 this evening. They're expecting 13 cents a share EPS on revenue of 863, roughly 863 million is what they're expecting. What does bond yields being higher mean? Well, it can mean a lot of different things. The main thing it means is interest rate sentiment is higher. So with bond yields higher, interest rate sentiment is higher. So bond yields are higher, interest rate sentiment is higher. Yep. And so again, the correlation I always use is like bond prices and bond yields inverse each other. Bond yields and interest rates parallel each other. Yeah, and I'm looking at this $20,000 level for the nasdaq. Let me do the poll here. This is the FOMC cut rates this week. We'll do an easy poll. Does the FOMC cut rates this week? Let me know what you guys think. So yeah, bond yields, there's a lot of them, right? So historically, there's a negative correlation, a modest negative correlation with the S&P 500 returns, and bond yields, discount rates on future corporate cash flows increase, weigh heavily on equity valuations. Yeah. So treasury yields versus the dollar. Higher yields typically attract foreign capital, leading to a stronger dollar. Conversely, falling yields can weaken the dollar. Mortgage rates move very closely with the 10-year yield. Correlation is often plus 0.9%. Again, plus 0.9%. That's why I look at the 10-year a lot. So rising bond yields directly increase borrowing costs for home buyers. As yields go up, housing starts and home sales typically slow down, reflecting higher financing costs. Yeah, so rising bond yields tend to favor value and financing. Banks earn more from wider net interest margins while pressuring long duration sectors like tech and utilities. And again, with this year, let's take a look at the rate odds. This has decreased even more. So the current odds of a rate cut this week are all the way down to under 3.5%. We're at 3.2% for a rate cut expectation here. 3.2%. Now we got some other news that comes out. So the U.S. House is moving to block California's 2035 gas car restrictions. Last week the U.S. House of Reps voted to block the state of Cali from banning the sale of gas-powered cars in 2035. It's now going to the Senate. Look at the NASDAQ. It's sitting right at this 20,000 level, right at this 20,000 level. California was the first of 12 states to make the move in 2022. The rule wouldn't take gas-powered cars off the streets or prevent Cali residents from buying them out of state and bringing them home, but it would require dealers to sell an increasing percentage of EVs every year until 2023 or 2035. I mean, yeah, and so apparently the S&P posts the longest winning streak in 20 years. The S&P notched its longest winning streak since 2004 as China signaled some openness to get a deal done. And investors digested better than expected payroll and jobs report. S&P posted its first 9-day winning streak since November of 2004. And so we are on a 9-day winning streak. 9 days. So we'll see if we agree today, man. I'm hopeful. We'll see. I'm not super optimistic because eventually we're gonna have to have a red day. But yeah. And again, I'll tell you guys this. I tend to think we're gonna get a deal done. I don't know when it's gonna be, but like you're always gonna have doom and gloomers, right? That are like, oh, it's the end of the world. The market's gonna keep coming down, and maybe it does. I really don't know, but I tend to think we're gonna get a deal done. China needs the United States without question. We are the largest buyer of Chinese goods in the world. You know what I mean? They need us. We need them too. They produce a lot of our stuff. They manufacture a lot of our stuff. And so both countries need each other. And because of that, I tend to think we're going to get a deal done. Now, I know they're like, oh, we're not going to make a deal. Of course, they're going to play hard line there. But I tend to think we're going to get a deal done. And when we do, I think the market might rip back up. Who knows, though? We'll see. Nobody knows. It's very variance heavy. We don't know if, we don't know what they're going to do. But I tend to think they're going to get it done. It's Monday, so that means we're going down. Hey, maybe, bro. We'll see. Palantir day. Music's good. Hey, John, keep an eye on the oil markets today. They may crash to the mid to low 50s. Maybe shorting oil stocks are bumping in the low long-term. OPEC is dumping more oil. Yeah, I heard about this. So when I take a look at oil futures here, oil futures are actually up some today, though. They gapped down significantly overnight, though. From about 58.50 a barrel all the way down to 55s. They're back up to 57.50s though, so they are rebounding back up for oil. I'm here for the top 3 no nonsense stream. Yeah. Definitely got to watch out for potential PFN, which means potential future nonsense. Yeah, Buffett, smart dude. Smart dude. Let him retire, bro. It's time. Why don't you use TradingView? Because it's easier for me to just Google this, to be honest. What's up, Faye? Palantir. Yeah. And the expectations on Ford. I don't really know that much about Ford, bro. I know Ford. All I know is I don't really buy Ford vehicles. Nothing against like Ford. If you buy a Ford, congrats. Like good job. I'm happy for you. I just don't know enough about them, and you know, I think they are benefiting from these tariffs to a certain extent. Like, they have climbed back up. You know, they hit lows of 830s. They're back up to 1020s, and so they've climbed back up to where they were basically pre-correction crash. And so I think they were one of those companies that are benefiting from the tariffs. We did have Tyson Foods just release their earnings here. I'll put these numbers up in chat. There's Tyson Food numbers right here in chat. Yeah, for sure, Pawn. And I don't know when it's going to be. Like, people get so upset. And they're so emotional about this. But, like, I tend to think we're going to get a deal done eventually. I just don't know when it's going to be, you know. Powell won't want to change rates till he sees the actual effects of the tariffs and the data. This might push any rate cuts beyond June. I don't see 3 cuts this year, maybe 2. Yeah, I mean, this is always, like, speculatable. If we take a look at June, I think right now the market's pricing in June. Oh, okay. Wow. So... all right, so we got some changes here. So at this point in time today, it is looking like we are not going to cut rates in June either, right? So this last week was over 60%. At this point in time, we have a 70% chance, basically, a 70% chance that we are not going to cut in June either. Let's take a look at July. July, it's got to pivot. Yeah, so July it pivots. So they think now it's going to be by July we're going to get a 25 basis point cut. But it's not looking like we're going to get one before then. Again, the market is on a 9-day green streak. The S&P's on a 9-day green streak. Yeah, you might be right. Forward earnings today. Yeah, where's gold? The market's back up a lot. I mean, we've had 9 green days in a row. Wow, look at gold. Gold is pumping up, though. Look at gold. Oil down. Yeah, I mean, of course. Inflation is not going down. How are they going to cut when 10-year yields are going up? Yeah, I mean, inflation is slowing down. For sure. I mean, we could look at, like, the easiest way to look at it is the core PCE graph. Let's take a look at one, if we can find one. Yeah. Here's trading economics. All right. Here is a 3-year inflation graph, core PCE inflation graph. All right. So here is a 3-year, and this is what the Fed looks at. This is the Fed's inflation graph. Let me get this right. So this is what the Fed looks at, and so inflation is certainly slowing. We had PCE last week for April, or no, was it for April? What was last week's PCE? Was it for April or March? Might have been for March. I think it was actually for April though, because it was Thursday, which was before the. It was Thursday, so it was before the month ended. So that would mean it's for the previous month. Let me make sure. Wait, so Thursday. Okay, yeah, so Wednesday is when all of it came out. Wednesday we had PCE for March. Okay, so yeah, Wednesday it was for March. But yeah, Wednesday's core PCE reading showed up at 2.6% year over year, which is what you can see it reflected in the trading economics graph, as well as 0% month over month. So inflation has slowed down a little bit, and that's good. And then payroll numbers were actually pretty strong. So those were optimistic things. We had lower inflation, still a strong economic report in the labor market report. Unemployment was as expected. Payrolls were higher than expected, but yeah, PCE inflation Wednesday was still 0 and lower than expected. So it was pretty good. It wasn't a bad report. And I really want to kind of encourage people to just be data dependent on this type of stuff. Like, you got so many people that no matter what, they're going to say things are bad. Or no matter what, they're going to say things are not as bad as they seem, right? Like, I look at the data. I'm looking at what the data actually says, you know. But you got so many different, like, bias, you know, views that, and it's normal. Everybody's biased, opinionated, but still. I wish rates would go down. Yeah, I mean, rates are high. All right, so Saudi Arabia sets June light crude oil OSP to US at a plus 340 per barrel versus ASCI sets OSP to NW Europe at plus 145 a barrel. Again, you can kind of see oil. Gold is up a lot today. Oil having some big downturns. I get the sense that the Fed will remain more and less neutral until the dust settles. Maybe. Gold will reach Bitcoin price. I don't know about that. What's up, Ride? This is Chevy Country. I like Chevys more than Ford for sure. I mean, if you want me to be honest, though, and again, don't get mad at me, all my domestic lovers of trucks. Don't get mad at me. But I'd buy a Tundra over all of them. You know, I'm sorry, guys. They're just cooler trucks. They look better. They're more reliable, you know. Don't judge me. All right. I just like Tundras more. But I also like Chevys too, so don't get it wrong. I like Chevys as well. All right, guys, so the 10-year Treasury sits at 4.3%, 2 years at 3.8%, 30-year at 4.79%. Rising long-term rates continue to pressure growth stocks and mortgage rates alike. Crude oil slipped Friday, posting their biggest weekly decline since late March, weakening demand. Buffett surprised shareholders again that he's going to step down as the CEO at the end of the year, naming Greg Abel as a successor and cautioning that ongoing trade tensions risk harming the U.S. Palantir will report quarter one results after market close today with a 5 p.m. earnings call. Wall Street projects revenue of $862 million, up 36%, and adjusted earnings of 13 cents a share. Rates widely expected to be left unchanged and paused this Wednesday. Investors are going to, listen to Fed rhetoric for clues and see what Powell says during the actual press conference this week. And we also have other earnings dropping this week, like Uber, AMD, Disney, and more. So a lot of stuff happening this week. Busy week. And yeah, we got the Fomc meeting as well. We got ISM services coming out today. So we did break under 20,000 here. So we do have ISM services coming out live as well. Let me put this up on the bottom. All right, ISM services are expected. That's the big one. We got 945 services, but it's not the big one. The big one is 50.4 expected for ISM services at 10 a.m. We got this up on screen so you can see it. It's pretty small, but yeah. Okay, so the ECB is saying T2 is currently facing an incident and impact connectivity access for some of their stuff. So they're down. Some of their tech is down. And looking at Apple here, I think Apple's one to watch. But Apple, after the stuff going on in earnings, it's been kind of dipping down. So Apple's been falling down since earnings. Amazon, not down as much as it could be. Tesla, sit at 280, still doing a little bit better. AMD leading into earnings, still pretty strong. Again, Palantir, big one for earnings today. Look at the NASDAQ flush here. So the NASDAQ's falling down some right now. Yeah, Fomc Wednesday. What's up, Sam? X stairs are cool. Over a raptor? Well, a raptor's a raptor. The raptor, I do like raptors, just to clarify. If I could pick one, I'd probably get the Camaro or the Corvette truck. You know, if I could pick one, though, that's probably what I'd get. Yeah, so we got ISM services today. Yeah, we got ISM services. We have trade deficit data tomorrow. Wednesday, we got the Fomc meeting. Thursday, jobless claims, non-farm productivity, wholesale inventories. And then Friday, we got a whole bunch of Fed speakers. And then next week, we got CPI. So... So look at this. I do feel better today though, dude. This is the first day where I've woken up and I feel somewhat normal. Yeah, so I see the oil downfall here. Yeah, gold is still popping up. Oil down. Nasdaq just broke under that 19,975 level. So we're watching it. We got this previous low right here at like 82s, 85s or so. It's kind of rejecting the 75 level, so we're keeping an eye on that too. Yeah, so oil hit its lowest level since April 9th as OPEC Plus agreed to accelerate production hikes for a second straight month, adding 411,000 BPD in June. And stoking oversupply fears. In response, Barclay trimmed its 2025 Brent forecast by 4% to 66 a barrel. Goldman Sachs cut its average Brent estimate for the rest of 2025 to 60 a barrel, reflecting shifting markets. A lot of stuff going on overseas to foster this. But Palantir now technically red on the day. If we take a look at the SPY here, SPY pretty deeply red, you know, and again the S&P is on 9 green days in a row. 9. So that's the longest since 2004. Gold is actually up a lot today too. Gold is up to 32.20, 33.20. So gold is up a lot. No, I didn't see it, Sam. No, there's a pretty cool car right now. It's called the Grenadier. Like, check out a Grenadier. Now, again, this is not a G-Wagon. I saw this one. It's not a G-Wagon. These are actually not that expensive. You can get one for like $60K. And honestly, they're pretty cool, dude. This is a Grenadier. It looks just like a G-Wagon. No, I believe in gold. Gold's one of the best long-term like assets. Short term, you don't know what it's gonna do though. That's the problem. Like short term, it can do anything. 60K, not that expensive for a new car though, bro. I mean, look. All right, look at Nasdaq coming back here. I'm not saying 60K is not that expensive. I guess I did say exactly that. But what I'm saying is that it's not like it's not going to cost what a G-Wagon costs. You know, I would buy a G-Wagon, but they're a little too top heavy for me. I saw there's a couple cool cars that are like bulletproof and stuff. Those I do like some of those. Yeah, gold. I see. Part of me wants to short this. Do I want to short this? Kind of. All right, we got into one little trade here. I don't know what it's gonna do. I'll show it. We will cut it if it retraces too much. Slightly green. I mean, we're gonna take half off of there, I guess, just to lock something in, but I want to see if this is going to come down to 7.5. The range is small. I'll try adding to this now. There we go. All right, we took a little bit more off there. At this point, it's how we got a cushion now, but we got out the rest break even. So we're out. We made a little bit of money on it, but my short thesis was correct. Yeah, at this point in time, one of the big stories of the day, it's looking like it's going to be longer before we get rate cuts. It really is. Looks like it's longer before we're going to see rate cuts. Yeah, gold's up a lot today. Again, the big story is that bond yields are up. You know, you take a look at bond yields today. They're one of the big stories specifically. We got bond yields increasing big overnight, up to 4.3, basically 4.3%. This shows higher mortgage rate sentiment, higher interest rate sentiment, and yeah. So big increase in bond yields at 4.3%, 4.3%. I'm seeing this article by CNBC that says April was rocky for treasuries, but investors should probably stick around. Do I want to short into this again? Part of me wants to short it again. We got that rejection at the 80s, but again, I think the big story today is Palantir. Kind of slow news-wise, though. Like, we don't have a ton of news dropping this morning. It's a little boring. See, I wanted to short it too, man. I should have shorted it, but it's all right. Let's see if 7.5 holds it now. Small range. Very small range. We got 20,000. So this level, just a big psychological level in the NQ. 20K, just a big psychological level. So I think like once we break underneath that, I'm a little bit more bearish psychologically for the NASDAQ. Doesn't mean it's going to hold. Doesn't mean anything, but that's kind of my logic here. Palantir drops their earnings after the closing bell today. I don't think Buffett retiring should move markets at all. Yeah, I mean, he's 90-something years old. I think it's time for him to retire. I don't think he's going to be... Like, look, let's just be real. After you hit 90, I don't know how good your decision-making is. And so I think, honestly, him even being part of the company still is probably just, you know, just because. Like, I'd seriously, genuinely doubt Buffett is making any significant decisions at Berkshire Hathaway as of now. And I don't think he has been for the last decade. And so I don't know how significant him retiring really is going to be. I mean, it's technically a big change in the company. But again, my guy's 90-something years old. He's not making decisions. I promise you he's not, okay? No multi-billion-dollar business is going to let a 90-something-year-old man make decisions. They're just not, okay? By 90-something years old, again, my grandmother recently passed. She was 97. She wasn't making decisions before she passed. Not really, you know. I loved her. Good person. But again, when you hit 90, you just it's just different. And so again, I'm going to specify again, Buffett wasn't making any decisions. Probably hasn't for the last 10, 15 years. They might have pretended he was just to keep stability in the stock. But, you know, like that's the truth. And I think everybody here listens to this probably understands that, you know. I mean, there's a big difference between 70-something and 90-something. Again, my dad is 70-something. He could make decisions. He's great, you know. Say that when you're 90? If I can say that, you know. I will say it when I'm 90. Right, exactly, Pawn. Right, exactly, Guy. That's probably true, you know. Anybody arguing with this is just arguing to argue. Is it really, Pawn, or all those markets closed for what? Is that why there's no news today? It's kind of boring. Yeah, and I'm for having term limits. Because, like, one of my biggest frustrations with where I specifically live is Texas, like, Texas political structure and hypocrisy. Texas is like, yeah, freedom, Texas, right? And people, like, again, I'm not very political. I'm very neutral politically. But people are like, yeah, freedom, Texas, right? Texas is one of the most restrictive states, you know, like there's no ballot initiatives here. You can't say, hey, I want this to happen and have enough people vote on it and make it happen, right? Like instead, you've got to basically hope that whoever you vote for is going to side with you and not people sending them donation money, right? Like that's the real issue, is that in Texas, like I'm going to go with like cannabis legalization because it's the easiest. In Texas, most people want cannabis legalized here. But instead, you got politicians who don't really have everybody's best interest at heart, that get a lot of PAC money from pharmaceutical companies that do not want cannabis legal because it's going to wipe out some of their business. And so instead of doing what a majority of the people would prefer here in Texas, which is legalized cannabis, instead they go with the people sending them donations, right? And then they have the audacity to tout freedom, like, you know what I mean? It just gets ridiculous here. It just gets ridiculous. And there's a lot of examples of not just that. That's the one I can think of right now. But yeah, I think you need ballot initiatives in a free state. You got to let the people vote on what they want. You know, you can't tout freedom and not have ballot initiatives. And so there's a lot of hypocrisy, and a lot of them are just really old. You know, so they're really old. They're not really in tune with what the population really wants. And it is what it is, you know. Yeah, I mean, I tend to think you should have a maximum age on driving as well, for sure. I don't think you should really be driving a car at 90 something. You know, especially not in modern age when we have like Uber and ride sharing that can make it really easy to get around. Yeah, maybe he was making decisions. I don't know. Warren Buffett might be a unique case. Maybe the guy is sharp. I don't know. I'm just saying in general, it's unlikely. It's unlikely the last 5 years. Even if he seems like sharp, it's unlikely a multi-billion dollar business is going to risk that, you know, even if he seems sharp. He's got a lot of kids that, you know. Yeah, I mean, with that said, though, if they can't order an Uber, they definitely shouldn't be driving. And my point is, their kids' family should be the ones kind of orchestrating things in that regard. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong about Buffett. I would just assume, but again, maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Nasdaq's bouncing up. We're kind of sideways though here. Look at this. So we are kind of sitting sideways. You know, this is the little range we've had over the last 20 minutes or so. We'll see if we break out of that range. Yeah, but again, another one of the big stories today is that we are on our biggest winning streak in 20 years. The S&P 500 has had 9 green days in a row, 9 green sessions in a row, and we're opening up red today, and so we'll see if we break that. But 9 green days in a row for the S&P 500. We'll see what happens, but that's a big story of the day for sure. All right, so on semi, ON had Q1 results. They posted 55 cents a share versus 50 expected. Revenue of 1.45 versus 1.4 expected. You can see those numbers out right there. Yeah, so it's actually more than that sell. So we actually have, it's like 97% likelihood of a pause on Wednesday this week. So 97.5%, I think is what it is. It might be a little bit, it might be 96.5%. Let me see. But yeah, basically it's pretty freaking probable that we are going to pause rates Wednesday. All right, NASDAQ very flat, very flat. We're waiting for something here. All right, so is this true? So did the president announce a 100% tariff on foreign produced films? Berkshire CEO Warren Buffett obviously said he stepped down. Palantir surged, optimism, Q1 results tonight. AI spending, maybe see heightened volatility from all this stuff. MicroStrategy purchases an additional 1,895 bitcoins between April 28th and today, May 4th, or yesterday, May 4th, at an average price of 95,167 for a total of 180 million. Again, producers in oil agreed to add 411 barrels in June, sending Brent and WTI down over 7%. Energy names and high-yield bonds may feel the ripple. Morgan Stanley notes that MSCI EAFE is up 14% year to date versus flat S&P. Steepening yield curve, labor market softening could turn markets down. But yeah, MicroStrategy CEO still buying up here. Here's MSTR. You got to take a look at Bitcoin here too. I mean, Bitcoin under 95 right now, 94. Yeah, made outside the U.S. I mean, I don't know how hard. I mean, Bitcoin's definitely down. It hit 98s on, when was this, Monday? Yeah, it hit 98s on Monday. Now it's down a lot, so. Yeah, well, the green streak in today. I don't know. Will it end? Maybe. Yes, Netflix down. Yeah, look at Netflix fall down. So Pawn brought attention to this. So we were at 1160. Now we're at 1090s for Netflix. So Netflix down pretty significantly overnight on that tariff news for film, for foreign films. Wow. It ain't good. It ain't good. All right, so we're popping up a little bit. I kind of want to short this, although we're very flat right now. It's hard to make a bet on this. I'll short a little bit. We'll take one contract here, micro, and then maybe add to it, but we're slightly green on the day, but not much. All right, now we're flat. We're at the bottom of the range. I wanted to see if we would retrace down here. Boo. That's a big green candle and then a retracement. All right, I took half of this off. We retraced all the way back down. And so, just to protect, I'm gonna take half of that off. Any other big news? So the SOFR rate came in at 4.36%, 4.36. What else we got? Michael Saylor again bought almost 2,000 more Bitcoin. On semi-posted results, he said we hodl 555,000. Bitcoin acquired for 38 billion at 68,000 per Bitcoin. All right, so we do have this symbol here. You can probably hold the rest break even. If we break under 7.5, we might add to it, but then we just retrace back up. We bounced right at my support level here, but this is looking stronger for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that. We're basically flat on the day now. All right, so I'm looking at the presidential schedule, see what he's going to be doing today. I don't think he's going to be doing... He does sign executive orders at 3 o'clock. Yeah, we had on semi results. That's about it. Tyson Foods. BioNTech. Yeah, I saw the bond news. You will own nothing and be happy. Yeah, I mean, look, man, like, you gotta understand, throughout history, everybody wants to believe they're a freedom fighter, okay? Like, throughout it, everybody, on both sides, everybody wants to believe that. And more than that, like, they want to believe that they see something other people don't, right? Like, this is human nature. The reality of it is, right, like the truth of it is that every time we have a technology advancement, like people are worried about digital downloads, every time we have a tech advancement, every single time, right, people freak out. You know, when the carriage was out here and the automobile started to come out, the people that built carriages said, hey guys, it's going to be the end of the world. Don't trust those cars. It's going to be the end of the world. Like, we got to keep driving our carriages instead, you know. Carriage businesses went out of business. You know what I mean? Like, this is the nature of technology. When the internet came out, people said, oh, people will never buy things on the internet. It's the end of the world. You know, like, no matter where you are, technology is going to evolve. You're going to have certain people that fear that evolution. And that includes people who fear digital downloads. In the end, it's going to become so convenient to own things digitally. People are really not going to worry about it after a certain point, but there's always going to be a little speed bump there from people that panic about, you know, in this case, not owning physical copies of movies. Like, movies aren't going to stay physical for much longer. You know, it's just not how it's going to go. Like, technology has evolved past that, and that's normal. That's a normal part of technology. Same thing with the internet, you know. They said the same thing regarding books. You know, books, same thing. It's just kind of how it goes. I don't know why ON's not doing that bad. I'm not really a big ON investor. I mean, it's not doing that great. I mean, it's up a little bit. ON is honestly, wait. Yeah, I mean, ON is down a lot from these. ON has been downtrending really, like, for a much longer period of time though. Something about ON Semi is not good about their business. I don't know enough about the company. I'm taking a look at the longer term chart. Look at this pop. So we are now over 20,000 in the NASDAQ, over 20K. Yeah, we got the Fomc on Wednesday. Again, it's pretty probable that we're going to pause rates. Yeah, I mean, Blaze, it's all good, but I don't understand that correlation. That seems like just kind of left field, not really relevant to what I'm saying, but, you know, it's all good. All right, look at the NASDAQ pump here. I mean, I'm trying to make sure there's some news. And again, hopefully all you guys understand at home. Y'all can agree or disagree with me. It's all good. It's all love. Like, we can disagree on something and still not hate each other, you know? Yeah, it's all good, Blaze. Johnson & Johnson positioned to become the first and only IL-23 inhibitor to offer subcutaneous induction in ulcerative colitis has demonstrated in new data through 24 weeks. J&J. Johnson & Johnson, I mean, it's been downtrending since 2022. What's driving the NASDAQ up right now, chat? It's not Apple. It's not Nvidia. It's not AMD. Or I don't know. I got a 15-minute chart up. Let me see. Could be microchips. Microsoft's up. Meta. What am I missing here? What's driving the NASDAQ up this much? Anybody know? What do you think of embodied AI? Well, I mean, I think we have to have pitfalls, safe falls, as always with stuff like that. It depends on which use case you're talking about, though. I agree with some of them and disagree with some other ones, so it just depends on the use case, to be honest. All right, so we're back over 20K here. I'm trying to see what stock is driving the NASDAQ on this rebound here. I mean, I can't really find it. It's not Palantir. It's not AMD. It's not Nvidia. Microsoft, maybe. Tesla. Yeah, it could be Microsoft. Yeah. Apple files for US dollar denominated notes. Maybe that's what it is. Has Bitcoin reacted to the Sailor news? No, not really. I mean, it's up a little bit, I guess. The big story today is Palantir earnings, to be honest. Market's very choppy this morning, though. I'm trying to see where the previous closing price is on the NQ. So, again, the S&P, the NASDAQ has had 9 green days in a row leading into today, but we are opening red so far today. The previous closing price on the NQ is about 20.2. We're at 20 now, so we're about $200 away. Previous closing price is way up here for the NQ, so we got a ways to go. That's my point. I might short this a little bit here. And just take one and see if we can get like a longer range trade. Sometimes the 200 exponential will like reject this, so that's kind of what I want to see. GPUs. Yeah, I'm looking for some news, but we don't have anything at 8:30 today, I don't think. Let me make sure, but I don't think we do. Apparently it's a holiday today, so a lot of stuff's slowly closed. So we're kind of flat. I just want to see if we range all the way back down. All right, so our Iran said a deal with the U.S. is achievable if the aim is to prevent arms. There we go. That's better. I'm going to add to this now. So we just added a little bit to this. I just want to see if we come back down. So the president posts a mention of his affiliated crypto coin just now. I'm going to try to hold the rest of this break even and let it work some. I'll give it a little bit of a range above it. So I'll let it go to like 2 or 3, but that's the plan right now. If we retrace down enough, I'll sell some too, but yeah. Getting into good spots is an important part of the system, so. Like the problem is we're back over 20K now. So like we were deep under 20K and now we're kind of testing it now, but there we go, that's better. All right, I'm gonna take half off there and just lock in the profit. And we're now green. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. So we're now green on the day. So we made a little bit of profit there. We wanted the little rejection, so that's good. I mean, it's not gonna matter what, like the big news. So we got out just in time on this. Look at this retracement back up. So the big news this week, again, chat. Number one, today we got services PMI. Wednesday, we have the Fed meeting. And we already know it's pretty probable that we're going to pause rates. It's pretty probable we're not going to cut. But what Powell says during the meeting is going to give a little bit more headway into everything going on. So it's pretty probable we are not going to cut rates. And that's okay. Again, what matters more is what Powell says during the actual press conference, personally. All right, chat. Yeah, so Apple kicking off a Part 4 US dollar corporate bond sale. So that might move. Very flat right now. Look at markets. Again, like we're sitting right around 20,000, right around 20K. All right, very, very flat range. All right, so again, look at this range here. Netflix is down because of new tariffs for foreign films. So again, the president announced new tariffs on foreign-made films, 100% tariff. And so obviously, with Netflix producing so many different foreign movies and using so many foreign movies for their stuff, you can take a look at Netflix, and Netflix is down pretty significantly overnight. Big drop for Netflix, just down pretty significantly overnight. Yeah, I'm surprised the poll is not a little bit more like weighted towards no. All right, so we're starting to come back over. Again, this 20,000 level is a big psychological area. So, like, the fact that we're above it, I think, is good now, but it doesn't mean we're going to hold. Hmm. $16.80. Bought Disney at 83, sold for 90. Nice. Yeah, I'm going to end this poll. I think we got enough votes. I want to ask people another question. Does the S&P 500 continue its 9-day green streak today? Yes or no? Vote on the poll. Let me know. We're opening up pretty red, but again, the S&P 500 is on a 9-day green streak today. 9 days. So. Also, guys, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We're getting very close to 160,000. I think we'll probably break it today, but it's getting close. So we are at we need 70 subscribers. 70, or we need 60 subscribers now. So listen, I'm not gonna pressure you, but do it now. Everybody does it. Try it one time. Might feel good. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. We still got about an hour until the opening bell. But vote on this poll. I'm really curious. So as of now, most people think we're not going to continue the green streak today. 63% say no, we are not. Let me know why or why not in the chat. All right, so now we're back under 20,000. Look at this. Very rangy market right now, very sideways market. And again, I think overseas markets are closed today because I think it's like Buddha's birthday or something like that, right? Something like that, huh? Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. I don't know. And again, looking at bond yields, again, they're going back and forth this morning, but we've had a green few days of bond yields, meaning bond yields are up, which shows higher interest rate sentiment. Higher interest rate sentiment here. It is, yeah, it's Cinco de Mayo. So we did reject at 20,000. Yeah, you might be a little delayed on the stream, Wizard. So hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up. Does he speak? Think about the Intel pool call time or something like that. All right, so we're under 20,000 now. Been chopping back and forth over it. Will we reject 20,000 again here as well? I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, again, I might have been wrong. Yeah, so look, I'm watching this 20,000. I want to see if that rejects this. Who knows? Yeah, and I don't really think we have any, like, big... We got services today, ISM services this evening. Or not this evening, I'm sorry, later this morning. But, no 8:30 news release today. Tomorrow we got import-export trade balance data. Atlanta Fed GDP at 1. Wednesday we got the Fed meeting. Thursday jobless claims. Friday we got a bunch of Fed members speaking on Friday. All right, so we did reject at 20 again. I'm curious about this level. Again, oil, say, after overproduction worries, oil opened up really red. It's kind of rebounded all the way back up, though. So we did kind of rebound all the way back up. We'll see if we hold this. Yeah, it's the 200 exponential as well. Yeah, so it's a Buddhist holiday today. That's why. All right, still breaking down here. We're at 19,990s. So still falling. Now we're popping back up. The range is so small today, though, chat. It's not a very, like, busy, heavy day. It's really not. It's kind of slow. Again, Palantir earnings this evening are massive, so we're going to have to stream those, but... Warren Buffett stepping down at the end of the year. Another big story. We also have Ford, HIMS, Realty Income, VRTX, Clorox, and more. It's not really a super busy week for earnings. We've got like AMD Supermicro tomorrow, though, so that might be kind of big. We got Uber, Disney. So we got some companies' earnings, but it's not like a crazy big week like it was last week. Last week we had all the big boys. Creeping down a little bit, rejecting that 200 exponential. Again, we can take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin under 95, although starting to rebound back up after MicroStrategy bought a bunch more, or announced they bought a bunch more this morning. Gold gapping up a lot today. Looking at gold on like a 30-minute chart, you can kind of see this is a big upper band range, 33.30s for gold. Nasdaq again right at 20K. That's a pretty big level too. Streak continues. Maybe. I think it's going to be hard to tell what happens with the streak. Yeah, bond yields opening up much higher. So what's driving gold up the last 24 hours? Weaker dollar, making gold more attractive. Fed meeting. Trade tensions. Dollar slid down is mostly why gold is up, I think. Let's take a look at the dollar. Yeah, so the dollar opening up down made gold a little bit more optimistic and attractive. The dollar did hit 100 though, so it's getting better. Gold's up 30% year to date because of the massive corrections we see in finance. Like the NASDAQ, S&P, Dow all dipped 20% or so. And so those corrections are what's driving gold up today. Like the more uncertainty there is in markets, the more fear, the more people hedge against that fear with gold. And so that is what has driven gold up. But gold's been on, honestly, a long-term uptrend as well. So, like, gold has been uptrending for 8-9 years now. It's one of the reasons I'm not buying it. Again, I might miss out on some gains, but I would rather wait for gold and then just DCA on pullbacks instead versus buying it up when it's the strongest it's ever been. Like, I just don't like buying it there, personally. And maybe I'm wrong and I might miss out on some stuff. That's fine. But... yeah, I definitely see more hawkish trends today. Yields are higher. Likelihood of a cut on Wednesday is lower. It's definitely looking a little bit more hawkish. You know, like it's looking less likely the Fed's going to cut rates. It looks like the Fed's going to be more restrictive. And this is on the heels of last week's inflation data. So we had inflation data show up last week. It came in slower, lower than expected inflation data. So we showed up at 0% month over month, 2.6% year over year. That is a substantial decrease. So we did come in a little bit better. But yeah. So we did show up a little bit lower. Now it's looking like we're going to cut rates all the way in July. So originally, like last week, we saw a lot of expectations of a rate cut, the next one being June. Now it's looking much more probable that we're going to cut rates not in June. Look, this is all the way down under 2%. So this has changed just since the last time I looked at it. So at this point in time, it's looking even more probable that we are going to cut. Wait, where's my snipping tool? It's got to be somewhere around here. There it is. So now it's looking at even more probable. Oh, wait, where's my drawing tool? Is what I want. Yeah. So it's looking more probable we're going to cut rates in July now. So look, now it's at 1.8% likelihood of a cut on Wednesday. So super low likelihood of a cut. You'll still have some people predicting it though. Now when we look at June, it's all the way down to 33%. Now this is subject to change, right? So like from now to June, we got about 6 weeks until June, about 7 weeks really, about 6.5. So we still have some time until the June meeting, and this is always subject to change. Like if we get really weak economic reports this month in May, if we get like a really weak economic report in June, the likelihood of a cut in June might increase more so than 33%. This has been a very there's been a lot of variance in what this number shows up as based off of data. So a lot of variance in what this number shows up as based off of data. But yeah, it's becoming more and more and more probable that we are going to cut in July now. Now, if we take a look at the July expectations here, June, pretty probable. We're still going to pause. July is looking like when we're going to finally start cutting with well over 50% chance. So when you combine like the expectation of all this is all the stuff that like we might cut. By July, it's 50, 60, 70, 80. It's about 80% chance likelihood that we're going to cut by July. 25 basis points at least. Maybe more. But by July, it's looking like 25 basis points at least we're going to cut. But this is always subject to change, like I said. Like if we get high inflation data in any form, CPI, PCE, too hot of a payroll print, you know what I mean? Like GDP coming in stronger than expected, like that might push back the odds of a rate cut even more. And so that's the way you have to look at this. Like this is always subject to change. It's always data dependent. So rate cut odds are going to be influenced by economic reports. And so if you want to know whether we're going to cut by June, watch what inflation shows up as by June. That's what's going to influence it the most. Who gave an annual probability? SO. Nobody gave an annual probability. All I did was add up all the cut options, which is these, to get 80%. And then with that said that by June, there's an 80% as of now. And this is, again, subject to change. But by June, as of now, there's an 80% chance that we get a cut in any form. It could be 25 here. It could be 50 basis points. It could be 1 in June and 1 in July, making it 50 basis points. It could be anything. But at this point in time, there's an 80% likelihood of a cut by July. But it's always subject to change. Hey man, I just got Top Step X, but there's an issue when I place a market order. It fills, but I am unable to see how much profit I am making. Do you know? Yeah, you just got to check the profits you look. I would go to, there's a different page. You want to go to your account section and just look at the account balance and see how much over or under, whatever the account size is. If it's a $50,000 account, that's what you do. If it's 100, you look at just how much it's over or under that number. That's how you do it. Bro, how's market going to react towards tomorrow Wednesday meeting? I have no idea. I think it depends on what Powell says more than anything. Whether Powell is restrictive or dovish is going to influence markets. I think the market wants rate cuts, and so I think the more restrictive Powell is, the worse the market's going to respond. Unrealized P&L. You should see unrealized P&L in the trade section. Like if you go to the trade section, or usually it should show you by the order where you put the orders in, but where it shows you your unrealized P&L can vary. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, great way to help support the channel. There's no PDT. This is Top Step X right here. We're slightly green on the day. But yeah, SO, then what does it mean? If it doesn't mean there's an 80% chance, it literally says here, target range probabilities for July Fed meeting. So like this is betting on where rates are going to be, you know. But no, if you want to check out Top Step, there's no PDT in futures. Most people, like, they end up having to deposit thousands of dollars to get around the PDT rule. And so most day traders lose their first couple accounts. It makes absolutely no sense to risk your own account in the beginning, especially thousands of dollars. Most day traders lose and they pay a market tuition is what it's called. It basically means you got to lose before you win. Now, you can either fund your own account and lose thousands of dollars potentially paying that market tuition, or you could try this. They give you a 50K demo. It's $50 a month. If you can make 3K in profit on that demo without losing 2K first, following their rules, a reasonable 3-to-2 ratio, they fund you 50K with a 90% split. And prior to that split kicking in, you get to keep your first 10K in profit. And so a very similar reward to funding your own account. If you fail, the base one's $50 basically. It's $49 plus tax. Not the end of the world. So it's limited risk. In my opinion, similar reward to funding your own account, and learning how to trade in a structured environment like this just makes sense. It teaches you how to trade in a better way. Top Step has paid out hundreds of millions of dollars. They fund thousands of traders. It's just a great way to learn. And if you're good enough, you can withdraw and fund your own account. If you're not, your risk is limited, if that makes sense. And so again, I'll put the link up here. A great way to help support the channel. They are an affiliate of mine. I am biased. I get paid by them, but genuinely useful for traders. Understand CFTC 4.41, hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything, guys, but I think it's genuinely good for traders. Helps them learn in a better way. But I'll pin the link right here and pin it to the top of the chat. Right, exactly, Jonathan. Yes, it's 80%. I think he's just trying to argue, bro. Again, I'm not even sure what he means. It's not 80%. I think if we're talking about there's an 80% chance of a cut of some sort, it could be a 25 basis point cut, could mean a 50 basis point cut, could mean 75 basis point cut. But when you add them all together, what does it equal? It equals approximately 80%. Again, if this is wrong, you know, explain, but I don't think it is. Maybe it is. I don't freaking know. Aren't the effects of high interest rates lagging? Well, there's a lagging effect of rate changes. So like the Fed cuts rates, it's going to take a little while to influence, especially mortgages and other stuff. So there is a lag to it. It's about 6 months to a year, I would say. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, but again, like with rate stuff, it's always subject to change. Like if we get high inflation data, it could change. If we get weak economic data, it could change. Weak economic data means it's more likely we're going to cut rates. And so if the economy turns in a drastic way on the downside, the likelihood of a rate cut is going to increase, not decrease. If inflation turns to the upside, the likelihood of a rate cut is going to decrease, because in order, like if inflation wasn't an issue, we would always have a low interest rate environment. You know, because a low interest rate environment is generally better for people. I mean, banks kind of want a higher interest rate environment. They profit better margins from it. But if inflation wasn't an issue, we would have a lot more lower interest rates. But inflation is an issue. And, you know, we can't just constantly keep low rates because it'll cause inflation issues long term. And so in order for the Fed to cut rates, they need inflation to be under control to a certain extent. You know, they have to have somewhat controlled inflation, and that's not really something that we've had over the last 5 years. Now it's gotten a lot better. Like inflation has certainly slowed over the last few years though, so we are seeing slowing inflation. You know, PCE inflation, I showed this graph earlier. Yeah, here's trading economics. So we do have over a 5-year chart. Here is core PCE inflation. So it has slowed a lot over the past few years. I mean, it was so high up here. And the reason it was so high back here is because of like everything that happened in 2020. We had like supply chain restraints. We sent out stimulus checks. We did economic stimulus. We did low interest rates. We did QE, which is economic stimulus. All of that stuff combined with everything that went on in 2020 spiked inflation like this. And so then the Fed had to be restrictive. They had to raise interest rates for a while. They had to pause them at high levels. They had to do QT, which we're still kind of doing. And all of these things contributed to, plus like supply chain stuff got better, you know. Eventually, inflation became a little bit more manageable and slowed. Yeah, Blaze, you see how it's kind of crickets now, you know? Like, people can correct me, and sometimes when they correct me, it'll be something I'm pretty sure of, but when they correct me anyway, and they act like they have a sense of authority, it makes me question it. I'm like, am I wrong? Is there something I'm not missing here? Like, do these probabilities mean something else? Have I got it wrong this whole time? And then after checking it, I was like, no, they don't. That's not wrong. This is the way I'm explaining it is correct. This guy, I don't know what he's saying. He might not understand it is what I'm thinking here. But it got kind of quiet from him pretty quick. I don't know why. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm sorry. I didn't even see my disclaimers are up, dude. My bad. I'm over here talking with the disclaimers up. My bad. Yeah, sorry, guys. Thank you for letting me know, Eric. Or was it Eric? Yeah, appreciate it, bro. I was leaving that disclaimer up. My bad, guys. Yeah. Sorry, chat. Yeah, for sure. I got to double check everything. The internet has taught me that, you know. And again, I'm not perfect. Like, I try to preface everything with, like, I could be wrong. People still find a reason to, like, whine about it, but usually they're just kind of unhappy people, you know. Doesn't mean that person's that, but, like, you know, it's all good. You get used to it. This community's a blessing. It really is. Good community. All right, guys. So we're starting to bounce a little bit. We bounced right off of 7.5s. I should have held that short. I'm starting to really kind of dabble in taking longer term positions based around these levels. So like if we break under the 20,000 level and the 200 exponential here, we got a nice little range trade down to this level here. And look at where we bounced. We bounced close enough in a range off of this one as well. So I'm kind of dabbling with longer term trades, but the way I have to do it is I have to build up profit first, I think, and like have a decent cushion and then take some of those trades. So that way, even if I'm wrong, we're kind of back to flat. I think that's the right move. That's the right way. But yeah. Because I think what I've been doing that hasn't been working is I have built up profit and then increase size. And then I'll lose on one or two trades and be right back to break even. And that's a really discouraging thing. And so I think it's probably better to, instead of increasing like huge size, to instead just take longer, like higher risk trades, if that makes sense. Like where my risk levels, my stop levels are a little bit wider. That'll give me a little bit longer to hold the position versus taking longer size, and that way I can maximize profit a little bit easier. But that's kind of what I'm working on in the system right now. It's a pretty disclaimer. Just try to make sure you are factually correct before passionately criticizing someone. Yeah, for sure. I know how people like that are. Like, instead of being like, hey, you're right, I was wrong, he's just going to show up a couple hours later and act like he never said anything. I know how people are. I've seen it a lot, you know. What comment? Now you got me scrolling up to see your comment, but I don't see it anywhere, brother. Yeah, that was the longest disclaimer of all time ever in the world. Oh, Nightbot? Bro, it's hard to... Maybe I'm missing some. Like, sometimes I have it set to top chat. Bro, Enrique. Is it Enrique? Like, Iglesias? Or is it just Enrique? Hey, thank you, X. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you, sir. Bro, you would get guillotined so fast, bro. That's all I'm saying. All right, we're back up to 20,000 here, dude. Honestly, the range is so small. I think actually we figured out last week it's guillotine. All right, so look, we're back at the 200 exponential. Again, the NASDAQ is not, I don't know if the NASDAQ, so is it just the SPY that's on the 9-day green streak? Let's take a look at the Q here. Okay, yeah, so it's not the Q, it's the NASDAQ. So, yeah, the NASDAQ had a red day Thursday, as well as one on the 28th, as well as one on the 23rd, as well as one. The SPY is the green streak one, right? Wait, what? Okay. Wait. Okay, I'm so confused here, bro. Okay, wait. What's on the green streak? Is it a weekly? No? Okay, how are we on a green streak? What's on the green streak? Somebody help me out here. It says we're on a 9-day green streak. How? All right, AI, come to my rescue here, bro. It says we are on a 9-day green streak, but where? I see no SPY, SPX, QQQ, etc. that has had 9 green days in a row. Explain yourself, AI. Sometimes you got to get on to AI a little bit and say, get it right, man. I like how it explains the logic now, though. Even my poll says, hey, with the 9-day green streak on the S&P. But when I check the S&P, it's definitely not showing a 9-day green streak. Shows Thursday was red. The 28th was red. The 23rd was red. The 21st was red. Isn't about SPY or Q. It's about S&P 500 index and relate to broad market gauges. NASDAQ composite, Dow Jones. Yeah, but when I look at the Dow. Okay, so the Dow's the closest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The Dow's the closest, but I'm still not showing this. Oh, well, we're just going to pretend we're in some green streak anyway, even though I don't really see it. Is the NASDAQ? Is it really? Doesn't look like it. NASDAQ was red on Thursday, red on the 28th, red on the 21st as well. That would make it 1, 2, 3 green days. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. S&P futures. Here's the ES. Yeah, the ES is pretty close, but again, it had a red day on the 1st, Thursday. So, pretty close though. But for whatever reason, they're just not calculating that as a red day. Okay, so look, the E-mini on 430 closed at 56.19. It opened at 56.17, lower. Thursday, May 1st. I'm going to pretend we're in this green streak anyway. But just know I'm skeptical. Okay. All right. Let's look at another platform. All right, let's take a look. Here. E-mini. Daily chart. Again, here's a daily chart. May 1st, red. NASDAQ. May 1st, red. April 28th, red. Dow. I think the Dow's the closest. Still, May 1st. So. All right, we're back over 20,000. It's all right. I thought about that, CT. Perhaps the streak implies a higher close than the previous day. That's what I thought about, but right, again, previous day closed 56.19s on the S&P 500. May 1st, we opened up at 56.17s on the S&P 500. Not a higher close, but, you know, or not a, oh, you're talking about, yeah. Higher close than the previous day? Would that be a green streak, though? I don't know. Yeah, I don't freaking know, man. I give up on the green streak, but it's all right. All right, guys. It is 8 a.m. Or it's 9 a.m. market time. We got ISM services today, chat. ISM services. Yeah. Be ready. ISM services today. All right, look at this red action here. Maybe the 8 a.m. scrum. Let's see if there's any news to justify it. Comcast announces the U.S.-denominated three-parter. 3G Capital is going to acquire Skechers for $63 a share. Look at this candle. Again, we got ISM services data today. All right, look at the NASDAQ still pumping back up a little bit, starting to rebound here. Again, we're looking at Palantir for earnings today. We're at 124s. Likelihood of rate cuts went down over the weekend for some reason. Does the green streak imply that UAPs? Oh, I don't know. Dow should go lower. Look at this NASDAQ pump up here. Some type of news just came out. This has got to be some type of news related here. Let's see. It's got to be news, right? I'm assuming it is. Effective Fed funds rate 4.33% as expected. The Russian central bank gold forex reserve 678.8 billion in the last week versus 681 in the previous week. GM files for a three-part note. What a pop up here though, man. Strange. Let's see what the move is from. Apple up a little bit. AMD up. Nvidia. I guess there's not really any updated news here. Do we have anything at 9 a.m.? I don't think we did. French bond auction. I'll buy this dip if we get one here, but I need a pullback. I need a dip, I'll buy it, but we need a dip. Alright, so here's the dip. Let's buy into this, I guess. I'm gonna take a couple contracts here. Dude, there's sometimes I buy into the market and the market just turns the other way. I guess I'll give it a second, but I'm not really loving life right now. I gotta cut a piece of this. We're at the 200 exponential, but I gotta just protect the trade. It's small, but we'll give it a second. See, now we're popping right back up, so we're kind of flat. At 200 exponential, I might just start buying only the 200 EMA. With how much this thing bounces right here. Who wears Skechers anymore, though, bro? Like, I haven't even seen a Skecher in, like, years. I don't even know what they look like anymore. I just remember the commercials. That's all I remember. They don't even look like Skechers. What the heck? I guess they kind of do. Yeah, I gotta cut this again. We're just sitting tight waiting. I don't know what we're gonna do with any of this. The market's hella volatile. It's going up big and then down big. We'll wait until the opening bell. I think we get a little bit better results. At least 5 people in my family wear Skechers. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean it, man. Somebody said old people. Hey dudes. I got a pair. I got like 5 pairs of Hey Dudes. I really do. I'm a big believer in shoes that I can just slip on without needing to wear socks. And that's me with Hey Dudes. I'm just throwing those things. Like, I'm not a big Crocs wearer. I can't really do Crocs. You know, I've tried. I just feel ridiculous wearing them. So I'm sorry, young people in chat. I just can't do Crocs. It's just not my style. I can't. Don't judge. All right, I'm not judging you if you wear them. You know, they're the shoe from Idiocracy. I can't do it. I just can't do it. But I do wear Hey Dudes, and I just gotta throw them on. If Crocs were more comfortable, I might wear them. You know, but they're not comfortable at all. My son wears them. It's okay, we'll wear Crocs on your behalf. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I just can't do it. All right, NASDAQ breaking down again. I don't know why. Oh, dude, I gotta listen to my own. Look at my indicator just doing things today, bro. Look at this. Came out way back here. I should have listened to my own indicator, dude. Oof. I need you to apologize about shoes with no socks. Listen, Hey Dudes are shoes that you can wear with no socks and get away with it because they don't stink. They've got enough air and space. So I will not apologize. Yeah, but you're putting plastic on feet. Hot plastic's not really good for that, I think, personally. Let's see if 20,000 rejects it here. It might. John's the type of guy to go to Disneyland with Crocs. I don't wear Crocs, bro. I really don't. Honestly, I have pairs. Like, we go to Mission and we go to the Crocs store sometimes. And I just can't do it. The only time I'll wear Crocs is if I can't find my other shoes and I gotta step outside for a second. That's it. Yeah, the market's being strange right now. Big upward, big green moves, big red moves, big green moves. Just really strange. My hands have got to just be kind of off this right now until the opening bell in 20 minutes. We're right back over 20K. We have been basically going sideways here all morning. Haven't really moved since I started the stream. I think it depends on age. Young people are more into Crocs than old people. And so I think, yeah. Again, I've realized I'm just not cool anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I've realized I'm just not freaking cool anymore. You know why? Here's why. It's because what was cool when I was young is ankle socks. Socks that you couldn't really see in your shoes. So, like, even though you're wearing socks, it looks like you're not wearing socks. Sometimes I'm really not wearing socks, though. That was what was cool. What's cool to young people now are, like, super high top socks. Like 80s. like super long 80s socks that go all the way up. I guess it was more like 90s. That's what's cool to young people now. And it's hard for me to wear that, you know. And that's how I know I'm not cool. We're back to 20,000. Again, I'm making excuses, not trading, so I'm just rambling over here today because I don't want to buy anything here. I got faked out the last time I traded, and so I'll just sit around and wait. I see at AMC is trending right now. Is Lilo and Stitch doing well? I don't know. How's AMC stock and all this? Down. Figures. Good morning. Do you have any idea for gold? Not personally. Not really. I'm looking at gold. I'm waiting for the market to open. But to be honest, it's just kind of boring right now. Market's going up and down. I got to wait till the open to trade. It's just not very easy to trade right now. We got ISM services data coming out at 10 a.m. We are going to cover that. That might move markets too. We got another one dropping at 9:45 today. So we might move markets in that regard as well. But I really don't know. Yeah, so that is true cardboard. So again, Netflix is down pretty significantly today because of that. So look at Netflix. If you look at Netflix on the right, look how much it's down. This is because there's now 100% tariff on foreign-made films. And Netflix, which uses a lot of foreign-made films, is obviously not happy about it. And they're down a pretty big percentage here. They're down about, what is this? About $75 a share, which looks about like 6 or 7% decrease in Netflix because of this. Yeah, it's about 5.5%, but still. Disney is dropping too. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense for Disney. Disney all the way down under 90s is at 89 a share. Do y'all like Disney here? Would you say dollar cost averaging is a better strategy over waiting for drops to buy for long-term investing? Yes. The reason it is, technically, again, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable. If you lose, always make your own assessment. Trade smart. Can't guarantee anything. Sometimes I trade off stream and lose off stream. You're not going to see it. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. But with that said, I think the reason I like DCAing more is because waiting to buy on dips, sometimes you're going to have to wait a long time. Like, sometimes the market's just going to pump up and you're going to miss out on buying it if you're just sitting around waiting for dips. Like, especially if you're waiting for significant dips in markets. In that regard, in my opinion, it's better to just buy into it. If it then dips down, then you can add more, right? I mean, DCAing is adding regardless of price. So it's, but my point is averaging in over long term is better than waiting for pullbacks personally. But again, chat, it's a good question. Let me know what you guys think there. Let me get myself out of the way here too. I'm actually blocking Palantir here at the bottom. There we go. Yeah, here's Palantir. Palantir earnings today, kind of straddling the previous closing price here too. Yeah, so again, MicroStrategy got way more Bitcoins. And Bitcoin's still down though. Still negatively reacting here. We got 13 minutes, chat. If you only wait for dips, you will only be buying on down years. Right, exactly. And you're going to miss out on a lot of gains too. I think that's one of the reasons, like the reason we get so many people with these big short thesis is because they miss out on the big runs, right? Like if you miss out on the, like an example of this, if you missed out on the AI bull run over the last 4 or 5 years, you know, like confirmation bias wants the market to go back down, right? Why? Because you want to feel like you didn't miss out on much because it didn't hold anyway. Right, and so there's a lot of people that are pushing short theses in chat that are exactly that, where they missed out on the big bull run. They bought up Michael Burry, you know, his big short thesis, one of his 30 over the last 10 years. It's an exaggeration, but still. And they missed out on some of the big bull runs, and so now they're just kind of sitting mad, waiting for pullbacks, waiting for dips. You know. Hey, love you. What? Oh, this is just a meme from social media about a crypto. Love you. Love you, bud.
Love you, Daddy.
Have a good day, dude. You didn't get a shirt?
What do you mean?
For today. All right, guys. Again, we got a little bit of a consolidation move here, right around 20K. It looks short, personally, but with 10 minutes left until the opening bell, I don't know what we're going to get. I really don't. So with DCA, it's a much smaller size, mostly. So, like, what I mean by that is an example would be like buying 10 shares of Apple every month. You know, like it's a very small size, depending on how much money you have, you know, so like slowly buying 10% or no, I'm sorry, buying small size periodically regardless of price. So like every week you could have a DCA strategy where you have it every week. You could have one with every month. You could have one with every month and a half, every 6 weeks, like whatever you want to use. It's preference, it's subjective, but yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's like a DCA strategy is periodic buys regardless of price, you know. And if you do that long term, it curbs volatility. Like you don't have to worry as much about big pullbacks, big dips, big corrections, because you're going to be adding into that over time anyway. You know what I mean? And so yeah, appreciate it, Nick. Yeah, man, I love my kids. They're good kids. You know, smart kids too, man. They're very smart. All right, so Bank of America put out something that said the energy sector raised to overweight from market weight. Yeah, it is a holiday, like a Buddhist holiday today, so a lot of stuff's closed. Yeah, Bitcoin down a little bit today. MicroStrategy bought it up. I mean, it's in the 90s, though, and I think being in the 90s is good. I think it's an optimistic thing for Bitcoin to be at a nice. It looks like it's going to be back over 100 sometime soon, but who knows? You never really know, but still. Right. Yeah, $100 a week. That's a good one. $400 a month. Pretty conservative with it. I don't mind that one. I think that's fine. I was never into the old Lilo and Stitch. My daughter was, but it was kind of past. Like I was more like Lion King. You know, Brave Little Toaster. It was like my style of movies. All dogs go to heaven. Yeah, Skechers getting bought out. Yeah, I liked All Dogs Go to Heaven as a child. Bro, I am not watching that freaking movie. Ever. I can't do it. I just can't do it. You know? Like, I remember watching My Girl as a kid. Dude, I'm never watching that movie. Like, why would I ever want to watch that movie? You know? Never. I'm never watching that freaking movie. There's a couple really sad movies that I watched as a kid. I don't even understand why anybody would want to watch them. You know? I don't care how good the story is. Like, I'm just... And honestly, All Dogs Go to Heaven is one of them. Like, I can't do it. I'm just not doing it. Yeah, ISM services. Big story of the day. The market is honestly so flat this morning. It's really boring. But I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm not really trading anymore. We got 7 minutes until the opening bell. We'll see how it goes. But very boring right now. Not really much going on. News is pretty light today. So Palantir earnings are this evening, so that's good. But for now, it's just kind of boring, quiet. Not a lot happening. We got the Fed meeting this week, which is massive. And again, we're going to stream it all like we always do. But yeah. Yeah, Where the Red Fern Grows was the first book I ever read. Super sad book, too. All right, so we're right at 20,000. Palantir is still consolidating right around the previous closing price. Yeah, I took a couple trades, got faked out. I'm just waiting here. I'm not really... All right, so Bill Ackman says the U.S. should pause China tariffs for 180 days. He says the president should pause tariffs against China for 180 days because the fight has put economic pressure on the U.S. And Bill Ackman is the CEO of Pershing Square. He said in a CNBC interview this morning. Do you guys agree with him? He said, quote, my argument is you made the point with China, Ackman told CNBC, adding that current 145% level for tariffs on imports means that the world's two largest economies have effectively stopped doing business. There's a definition of deceleration in the there's definitely a deceleration in the economy now. The dynamic isn't favorable, end quote, Bill Ackman. Do you guys agree with this? I kind of agree with it, but I think both sides need to come to the table. You know, regardless, they're both going to play hard to get. I think that's pretty standard. But again, I said this earlier, I'll say it again. The U.S. is the single largest buyer of Chinese goods in the world, manufactured goods in the world. They need us just like we need them. You know, with that said, they are the single largest manufacturer of goods that we buy. So prices for us are going to go up. They're going to lose tons of business, and prices for us are going to increase if we can't get a deal done. And so I tend to think that eventually, obviously, like, we're going to get a deal done. Who knows when it is? I hope it's sooner versus later. We'll see what happens. Let me know if you think it's going to be soon or not soon. What do you think the net effect of the economy is going to be in chat? Let me know. Very flat open chat. I mean, not open yet, but leading into the open, we're super sideways, man. I hope we get out of this. It's boring. Hey, what's up, Todd? How you doing, bro? Hope you're doing good, man. I don't trust Bill Ackman. Yeah. I mean, he's a billionaire. I mean, Bill Ackman's Bill Ackman. I agree with some of the stuff he does. I disagree. I like the fact that he was trying to get rid of Herbalife. Herbalife, one of the scammiest companies in the world. I'm surprised it's still around. Is it still around? I think it is. Let me see. HLF, $7.30 a share. So it took them a long time to really go down for Herbalife, but now they have dropped so much in value, like 80, 90%. All right, we're getting a little pop ahead of the opening bell, chat. We got a minute and a half left here. What's up, Don? I'm doing good, man. Hey, what's up, all that glitters? Yeah, man, it's a tough time right now. The trading's been very difficult this morning. All right, guys, here we go. 1 minute left. 1 minute. There's looming supply chain shortages. Yeah, we'll see. All right, guys, 30 seconds, 30 seconds. We'll see if we get anything good. Yeah, I'm still getting over my sickness, so I'm feeling better though, but we're slowly getting better. All right, guys, here we go. Here's the opening bell. We got 10 or 20 seconds. I'm gonna wait a couple minutes after the opening bell to trade though. There is the opening bell, chat. There's the opening bell. Let's see what we get in blue chips. All right, so Palantir opening up slightly green. Look at Netflix pump up. So Netflix heading up here. I'm watching Netflix because of the new 100% tariffs on foreign films. So Nvidia shooting up. Meta's up a little bit. Big pop in the NASDAQ here. Apple up a little bit since the opening bell too. Tesla down. Checking other large caps. Google up. All right, so a lot of stuff's pushing up. Meta's turning a little bit on the downside though, so we're kind of mixed here. Now we're dropping some. All right, guys. Big red turn down here. Tesla's falling all the way down to 280s. Apple is pushing up a little bit though. Palantir's turning down some here though. Very weird market. We're only we're about 2 minutes in. Very whippy though. I gotta just chill and wait for a second, I think, here. Yeah, so Daniel, you're probably a little delayed. I would put it on 2x speed. That probably has to do with your latency. Like all streams on YouTube are about 1 to 2 seconds delayed, and ours is too, but we're latency free for the most part outside of a maybe 1 to 2 second delay, like any other stream. If you're that delayed, you got to hit the live button next to the play button or put it in 2x speed. That putting it in 2x speed should fix it, especially if like you want to be really on time with economic reports. Yeah, volume's low. We'll see if ISM data influences things. Like, I want to short things, but the market is so rangy and choppy, I'm just going to wait. I tend to think we're going to have a red day just because we've had 9 green days in a row. And I think the market's a little bit too whippy, but who knows, man. Tesla falling all the way down to 280s, chat. Amazon's up, Google's up, Nvidia's up, Meta's flat, Apple's up slightly, Palantir's down, but the market's still pumping up a little bit. This is mostly due to Amazon and Google. Still pretty mixed though, back and forth, up and down. All right, so we're about 4 minutes into the day here. All right, so we're back up testing these highs up here. And again, this is mostly due to Google, Amazon, and Nvidia. Palantir's down slightly, but that's what's driving the market up some. All right, look at Nvidia still pop. So we are rebounding some here. Now, in order to go green on the day, we need about 200 here on the NQ, which is a really deep ways away here. So, again, this is Google. Google coming all the way back up to 160s. Still popping up. Looks pretty green. We get a dip down to 225 here. We will buy this up. I need a dip though. All right, so look at that 25 level. We got 27s. It just didn't quite get there. I'm trying to let some stuff pass, but man, yeah. What is Burke doing? BRK. Burke is tumbling down here, but not really influencing markets. And again, in about 8 minutes, we have services data come out. So. Still pushing up. I might short a little bit of this here. Let's see. We've gone up enough. I'll try shorting it, but we'll see if we can short it down to 25. Got a little pullback, but it didn't quite go enough. We'll see. Kind of flat. Give it a second. Is the music stopped? It is. There we go. I wanted to see if 50 would reject it, but it's kind of ripping past 50. There we go. That's a rejection. All right, we're going to take half off of there, just kind of lock that in. We got a little bit more here that we can add to, but definitely a little whippy. All right, we're going to take that off. There we go. We'll go ahead and cut the rest there. So we're now green on the day. That brought us green. I wanted to see if 50 right here rejected it, and it did. So I'll make this a level. Stuff turned, but now we're green. First trade of the day. Or after the opening bell, that is. All right, so look at that big pullback. We're under 25s now. We're now under 25. Okay, look at this big dip here. Palantir cracking lows. Apple turning all the way back down. Amazon turning all the way back down. Meta turning all the way back down. Burke still down. All right, in 4 minutes we got another news release. Tyson Foods CEO says has been proactively reformulating products containing petroleum-based synthetic dyes and will complete the process by May. Canadian S&P Global data showed up. Yeah, we're back down to 20 here. Definitely looking a little bit more red. Look at this 20,000 level bouncing off of it here. I'm going to short this. Maybe add to it. If we break over 25, we'll cut it. But I don't hate a longer term trade here. We can kind of short and then get a rejection is what we're looking for. There we go. We'll take half off there just because it was quick. And we'll hold the rest. See if we break down some more here. There we go. All right, we'll get out the rest there. So we just made, a good little bit shorting. Looks like that was the right decision. We're up a good bit today. Apple's falling down all the way to $200 a share, though. Could have held the short a little bit longer. That's something I got to work on. Again, if you want to check out TopStep, that's where we're trading on today. TopStep gives you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. It's a great way to learn, and most day traders lose. So if you put up your own money, you're probably going to pay your market tuition yourself thousands of dollars if you fund your own account. Most day traders lose. Instead of that, $50 for the TopStep base one. You got to make $3K in profit without losing $2K. Learning to trade in this structured environment makes sense, and if you're good enough to pass it, reasonable 3-to-2 ratio. They fund you 50K with a 90% split. Prior to that split kicking in, you get to keep your first 10K as well. So it's very similar to funding your own account in that regard, but your risk is noticeably less, in my opinion. $50 a month for the base one, $100 for the middle one, $150 for the top one, which gives you 150K in funding if you pass it. And they paid out hundreds of millions. They fund thousands. It's genuinely a great way to learn. If you use my link and go to Top Step X, 0 commission on Top Step X. And so it's a great way to learn how to day trade, and I can take these small trades and learn and grow as a trader this way. Great way to learn. I'll put the link up one more time. It's also pinned at the top of the chat. Hey, what's up, man? All right, sorry. Look at this huge rebound in markets here. And again, in less than 2 minutes, we have in 1 minute, we've got regular services PMI. The big one drops at 10 a.m. So the big one does drop at 10 a.m. Yeah, we'll see what we get. But the big one drops at 10. This service is expected at 51.4. We also have global composite, but 51.4 is what's expected. The ISM services is at 10 in about 15 minutes. It's expected at 50.2. So they're all expecting growth in manufacturing. I guess that's not a shock with these tariffs going on. But Netflix rebounding back up too. All right, here we go. We got 15 seconds. 15 seconds. About 8 seconds left. Very flat open though. And 3, 2, 1. Here's the report. Virtually no movement here. Still waiting on the services to drop. It's a little late here. All right, so services PMI came in at 50.8 versus 51.4. Global PMI came in at 50.6. None of this really moved markets, but global services PMI came in at 50.8. Composite came in at 50.6. So I'll put this up on screen, but again, the big one drops, or we don't even need to put this up on screen. It's not really moving things. The big one drops at 10. ISM, it's the Institute of Supply Management. That's the bigger one that drops at 10 a.m. So we'll see what that one looks like, but no, it's just futures, Michelle. But the futures market is like the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, gold, some currencies. And again, they're an affiliate of mine. I'm biased. I understand all this stuff on screen, but yeah. All right, so look at 550.25. We're in such a tight range, though. I mean, we're green on the day so far, but it's not a super big like green day or anything. I'm gonna buy this. It's a little risky, but we've got a cushion on the day, and I can let a longer term trade go if it works. Came in a little bit stronger than expected for services PMI too, so maybe that's an optimistic look. But we're gonna take one contract here, very small, and then maybe add to it if we get into the green. Look for maybe 20.75 if we break the high up there, and if not, we'll cut it under 25s. There we go. All right, we're gonna add to this again. It's trying to creep up. Now we're kind of flat here. Kind of whipping back and forth. I'm gonna cut half of this here and just like get out flat and then let the rest work, so it's not a huge loss if it turns on me, which looks to be the right move here based off of what just happened. It struggled to get up that level. I mean, it retraced pretty freaking quickly here, though, but now we're right back up there. Like, we're leading into services PMI too, but Apple keeps breaking down. Meta just broke highs, though. That's looking a little bit better. Nvidia's up there too. Google's up there as well. So we got some strength showing up here. But it's really struggling to break. So the range is so small right now. So I could add another one to this. I don't know if I'm going to. I think I'm just going to wait. I got to keep it low risk. Okay, that's better. All right, there's a nice little rip up. We'll hold it. I mean, not quite a big gain. Look at that retracement all the way back down. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I'm going to cut it here. That's a big pullback. But actually, it's just too choppy right now. I don't know what it's going to do. Such a small range day, guys. I don't know if it's the holiday overseas or what, but we're still green. I mean, look, if you pull, let me pull this up a little bit easier. And now it's going back up there. All right, we'll try. Finally broke the top of that range. As long as they don't get it like a liquidity grab here. I forgot about 2050s. I don't have it on the other chart I'm looking at. But right back up. I tend to think the market wants to go green on the day though, but like especially leading into services PMI, we got 10 minutes left. Let's see if Meta can creep up. All right, we're gonna have to cut this and we'll see what we do on the rest. It's just kind of whippy. We'll get into a different one here. It went down to 25s, but there's just a lot of fake outs right now. So Mexican economy minister says Mexico is going to remove 1,000 steel mills from a list of approved vendors. We got a big pop back up to 25s here. All right, big flush. Kind of sideways. I think maybe the market's waiting. I can't tell if the market's waiting for ISM services or not. I really can't. Like, I think it's possible it is, but who knows? It's bouncing right there at the 200 exponential. It's kind of confirming my thesis on maybe I should take more of these trades off the 200 EMA. But Depends on if it goes sideways or not, man. It's hard to tell what the market's going to do here. I'm kind of back up there too. Palantir hit the top of that range as well. We got Palantir earnings today. ISM services in 7 minutes here, chat. 7 minutes, so weird. Look at this movement. We're gonna do Palantir. Yeah, so we'll do Palantir, but all right, chat. We have 5 minutes left, basically, until ISM services data comes out. I don't know how much this is going to move things either. Okay, so we got ourselves green in our other account that we were trading. I'll put it up, but it's kind of back and forth. You can kind of see it here. But not an easy day to trade. We bounced right at the 200 exponential, so I'm definitely going to start putting more weight in the 200 EMA. We got 6 minutes left. Five minutes left. I'm going to start slowing down my positions based off of the economic report coming out in 4.5 minutes. But I might buy one more time. I'm going to try to buy this level up here. See if we hold. Slightly green on the day right now, but there we go. All right, we're gonna cut that and get out. That 25 level hold really nice. I don't like 2050s. I've gotten faked out a couple times. I tend to think it's gonna hold though. We got a double top here. Right, I tend to think it's going to break. I mean, we got a double top here. Eventually, these levels are going to break if they keep testing. But who knows? Could always go the other way. We're over 2050s now. Palantir's starting to fight its way back up. Three and a half minutes chat. Y'all think we're going to have higher or lower services? Again, the services PMI report is expected to show up at 50.2. 50.2 for services. Let me know which one you think. Three minutes exactly, chat. 3 minutes exactly. We're over 50. Palantir's coming back. Netflix is still rising up here too. Look at this rip up to 1075. Let's watch it. We got 2 minutes left. We're over 50s now. Yeah, check out the free Discord. It doesn't cost anything. I'll put the link up. Or Pawn might have just dropped it. But yeah, join the Discord. Let me know if that link works. I just want to make sure it works. But yeah, join the Discord. It's completely free. Doesn't cost anything. Check it out. All right, guys. We got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. All right, guys, we got ISM services. One minute left, chat. 1 minute left. All right, 40 seconds. 40 seconds. Palantir's came all the way back. Netflix is all the way back up too. $25 seconds. $15 seconds. Hit the live button or hit the 2x speed next to the play button. Make sure you're caught up on stream and you're not delayed a little bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's the report. ISM services showed 51.6 versus 50.2 expected. $50.6 versus 50.2 expected for ISM services. And the market honestly liked this. It went all the way back up. It broke highs. At least the highs of the recent range here. So 50.2 expected. It showed 51.6. 51.6. Again, we covered this faster than everybody else. Hit the live button next to the play button. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Market is reacting favorably to this report. Look at this bounce back here, chat. Look at this move up to almost 20.1 on ISM services. So we need less than 50 subscribers to break 160,000. We need less than 50 to break 160,000. Do it now. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Look at this move. We're all the way up to over 20.1 as of now. Look at that. Testing this level. Again, 50.2 expected. We showed 51.6. Better than expected here, chat. I'll put this data up on screen, but there it is right here in yellow if you want to know what it was. It's making the market react favorably to this too. Still bouncing back here, chat. Still making moves. Again, ISM services stronger than expected. Again, if you want to help support the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can also check out Top Step. Again, I'm day trading on Top Step. We're slightly green on the day. Slightly green. We'll be covering Palantir earnings later. We cover every major thing going on in finance. We cover 10-year rate yields, FOMC meetings, Jerome Powell, non-farm payrolls, unemployment, like every economic report you could think of. We get generally a decent amount of people here showing up. And again, if you appreciate this, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Help me hit 160,000 today. Do it now. Just try it one time. It might feel good. And again, I'm not an investment professional, but if you want to day trade with me, check out Top Step. Most day traders lose. I don't care what course you take, who you follow. Most day traders lose. And so if you fund your own account, you're probably going to lose. A great way to learn how to day trade is this way. Top Step gives you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. If you pass the test, you got to make 3K in profit without losing 2K first. Following their rules, they fund you 50K, 90% split. And you get to keep your first 10K prior to that. So it's very similar to funding your own account in terms of split. If you fail, the base one's $50. It's not the end of the world. It's a great way to learn in a structured environment. Most day traders lose. And again, they've paid out hundreds of millions. They fund thousands. Day trading the futures market, incredibly similar to day trading stocks, incredibly similar. And so again, if you want to check it out, I'll put the link up. No PDT rule if you use Top Step X as well. And their new dashboard is really nice. It's really nice. If you want to check it out, link is here. You can also see it pinned at the top of the chat. And let's see if we break 20K. Or 20.1 thousand. 20.2. So they're talking about this big green streak today. The previous closing price was about here. 20,200 is the right around where we closed Friday. Or right around, yeah, where we closed Friday. So if we're going to open green, if we're going to have a green day today, we got to get all the way back up here. So, and it's possible. I mean, we've been ripping up some. If we pull back to 20.75, I might buy the dip. We'll see if we do. We're looking at it. All right, there's the dip. Do we have time to get in? Yes. Whoa, what a pullback here. I'm going to cut this. This looks weak. We're still green on the day, but that's a big pullback, and I felt like it was continued down. And there it goes. I don't know. We'll wait on it. All right, guys. I'm going to be back later on for Palantir earnings. So we'll be back later on for Palantir earnings. So stick around. Hey, I love you all. You'll have a great day. Be safe in the market, guys. Remember, not an investment professional. Understand all this stuff on screen. Understand CFTC 4.41. Good luck. Honestly, I was right for getting out there because the market ended up dumping down. Look at this drop right now in markets chat. Wow. What a reversal here. Trying to see what it's from. Watch 20.5. Maybe we bounce right here, but nope. Still dropping. What stock is reacting negatively? Burke is turning on the downside. Apple still weak. Weird volatility. It means we had a stronger services sector than expected. Stronger services. Yeah, y'all be good. Hey, have a great day, guys. Be safe in the market. I love you all. You'll have a great day. I'll be back later.